are here for satsang, and the topic of our travel this time is Living Blissfully. I was reminded of a story as we were chanting of a man who wants to experience bliss. So he goes to a master and he says, how do I become happy all the time? So the master tells him, find a person who's always laughing and ask him for his shirt. Put that on and you'll be happy. So he travels looking. As we all know, it's not so easy to find somebody who's happy all the time, who's laughing all the time. But finally, some years later, he finds or hears about someone living by himself in the woods who's happy, who's laughing all the time. When he arrives there, he finds that the person is facing away and laughing. He waits for him to stop laughing or turn, which at one point the being does. When he does, he says to him, can I have your shirt? The being says to him, if you would look closely, you would see that I do not have a shirt. And as he turns, the seeker recognizes that this is the same man who sent him on a search some years ago. First he gets angry and he tells him, why did you not tell this to me some years ago? Why did you send me on a chase looking for a person who's laughing, whose shirt I would find, that would make me happy? If you had told me this then, the being says, look, if I had explained this to you then, you would not have understood me. But today, after having searched and looked, sought somebody who's happy or laughing all the time, and that it is not so easy to find such a person. And if I were to tell you this, you would understand. So I was thinking, we also have very aptly named our tour, our travel, Living Blissfully. Most times we come into contact with that space within ourselves. We find ourselves wonderful, feeling blissed out. The chanting last night, the chanting this morning, the chanting now. And I then began to think, has it always been like this in Yallingup, that whenever we chant, that everybody chants so wonderfully, so sweetly, so immersed in the singing? And I think my memory says yes, that we've always had wonderful chanting, even when we had, I think, the tent outside some years ago, one evening. And when we realize the simplicity of being with a few friends, being with some people, singing, chanting. You go to certain cities around India, you find people every day gather for 30 minutes, an hour, and to connect to that space of joy, of bliss, of love. Simply forget everything and chant. Which reminded me of a quote by Swami Nityananda. He says, spend time in your own company. Spend time in your own company. If you don't enjoy your own company, why inflict it upon others? And I think of this often because spend time in your own company means we have to turn the television off. We have to put the book down. We have turned the radio off, we have taken the iPod out of the ears. No telephone, no surfing, no conversing with somebody. It means simply sitting in whatever space is comfortable and just being by oneself. Not so easy for the mind to do because it is lost in some world somewhere. But what Swami Chinmayananji is telling us is stop for a moment, look at yourself. Discover yourself, enjoy your own company, because really, as Baba Muktananda would say, wherever you go, you go. So if I become a person that is in bliss, that is at peace, in love with myself, then wherever I go, I take that with me. It goes because it's become a part. And when we learn to enjoy ourselves, that wherever we go, we bring that joy with us. So living blissfully or blissful living comes naturally from within us. We have to allow ourselves to be in that space. The mind does its dramas, the mind has its games, but we have to allow ourselves to go deeper inside. Oftentimes we will find what happens to a human is he's lost in the shallowness of his own mind, in the shallowness of his own games created by his own mind. Often around Baba, we heard a story. Mullah Nasruddin one day decides to go borrow his brother's wheelbarrow. As he walks from his house about a kilometer down, and he thinks to himself, what if my brother says, I cannot borrow his wheelbarrow? What if he says, the wheel is broken? What if he says that somebody else has already borrowed it? So in that 10-minute walk, his mind conjured up all of the reasons why his brother would not lend him or loan him the wheelbarrow. So by the time he arrived at his brother's house, he knocks on the door and he says, I don't want your wheelbarrow, keep it. Turns around and goes back. His brother opens the door, is surprised and doesn't know what is it that he's talking about.